Hi, my name is Trey Obering, and I'm very happy to see the faculty, students, and administration of John Carroll celebrating Veterans Day in this very special way. I'm a 1969 John Carroll graduate, and I went on to earn a bachelor's and master's degree of science in aerospace engineering from the University of Notre Dame and Stanford, respectively. I'm extremely proud to have served this greatest nation in history in my 35-year Air Force career. I had numerous assignments, including my first flying the F-4E Phantom fighter, to working with NASA on the Space Shuttle program for 7 years, to leading highly classified programs in the Pentagon, and finally as serving as the director of the United States Missile Defense Agency, where I led the development and deployment of this nation's first integrated missile defense system, with interceptors, radars, and sensors located around the globe and in space. I retired in 2009 as a 3-star general. The foundation of my career began with my education and experiences at John Carroll. So you see, John Carroll not only allowed me to learn history, but to make it. Thanks for this opportunity, and God bless you.
What's up, John Carroll? I am Captain Ashley Noel Johnson, class of 2005. I'm an active duty officer in the United States Air Force. I'm a JAG, which stands for Judge Advocate General, and basically is just an acronym to say that I'm a military attorney. I am currently stationed in the United Kingdom, but I am presently deployed to the Middle East, and I have been here for about 7 months by now. War stories is what they asked me for. I'm not going to talk about Afghanistan because you've probably heard enough about that in the news, but before I was stationed in the UK, I was stationed in South Korea. And one of the really cool things that some JAGs who go into what we call operations law get to do is we get to help develop targets for strike. And that was one of my responsibilities in Korea. So it's like this: before we drop any bombs or strike any targets, a JAG has to do a legal review on that target to make sure that it's actually a lawful target. So to make sure that striking that target won't constitute a war crime by violating Geneva Conventions or Hague Protocols or any other type of international law. So military intel will identify a target, and then we'll work with them to identify what civilian assets are around that target, and then weaponeer the strike in a way that creates the least amount of civilian damage while still executing our military objective. So say, for instance, we're looking to strike a target that's located in a civilian populated area. First, we'll have to determine whether or not that's a lawful target. Can we strike here? If so, then we'll look at all of our arsenal of weapons and pick the weapon that is most appropriate for this target. Then we'll help get the target approved up the chain of command and get it on the strike list. And boom. I was able to do that in Korea, and I was able to develop hundreds of targets, and it was super cool work. Other than that, my main job is to advise commanders on military discipline and prosecute cases at courts martial. So that's me. I hope you guys have a great day, stay safe, and happy Veterans Day.
me investigate the largest psychiatric VA hospital in the country. I did 3-month report, which was terrible, about what the situation was. And he said, okay, fix it. And bottom line is he had me develop what became my unit of outreach. And during that period, there were a couple of crises with Time and Life magazine with a couple of vets that were thrown out of that hospital. And I went down, and there was one at Venice Beach, and one at the old POP pier that was there, burned down in '75. It burned down and condemned in '68, but it was right in Pacific Ocean Park Pier between Venice and Santa Monica Pier. There was a huge pier there, and all that was left was just the pier. It was condemned, and there were 350 homeless living on it. They just closed the doors to it and barricaded at the front, and there was a nightclub down below and a few other things. But to walk out over the ocean, that was all condemned and was filled with homeless. And there were all Vietnam vets, and that's where my life started. I mean, I had every vet, and it was like waiting for me to arrive, and I was getting them into the VA and helping them with their stuff. And I turned around, and 6-7 years had gone. Lost my girl 2 years because I was going 7 days a week, and that was a priority, and she wanted to get married and have kids, and I just couldn't do it all. I've always been king of outreach in this country. I mean, there's the Vet Center program, which I started under Carter's, and it's 31 years that I started, and it's all outreach. Well, they've brought it in now, so nobody's going out there, because that's where you got to go get them. I decided to set up a toll-free number in '85 where people can call in, because most soldiers don't know where to start, and they're not going to walk into a big monster VA and knock on concrete and say help. They don't do it. I had this whole thing, if I'm making it simple. One is to give them a number, advertise it, call, and talk to somebody. So for years, with mostly Vietnam vets up until 2001, 2002, the toll-free number was our flag. Then all of a sudden, 9/11, Afghanistan, Iraq, still going on. 9 going on 10 years, got 2 wars going. These guys start coming back in '02 and '03. This new group are all internet savvy. These are kids that came out of that. I didn't. We got this grant about 4 years ago, a major grant, and we had to get into the 21st century, and we put up, I think, the baddest website for veterans in the country. We've been told that. It's smoking all the time. We can't talk enough. You know, we've had 2 million soldiers go back. We got 2 million more gearing up to fight whenever these wars end. And they won't go to the VA. We still have from World War II up through Desert Storm calling. They check us out on the internet, they interact on the internet, and then they call. And that was the buffer. But eventually we want to talk, because 99% of my team are veterans. And half of them now are from Iraq and Afghanistan. I'm hiring all new guys because they understand it. And they got to take over for me. I can't do this forever. And this is the future. And it's been incredible. I mean, they pick up the phone, just like we had, I did this show on CNN, and it ran worldwide 5 years ago on this vet that I helped who almost went to jail. It ran worldwide. Well, they satellited into all the stand-down areas for the troops, and now we get calls from the troops, because they're not going to go talk to the mental health officer there, because it gets on a record and they find out, oh, you're having problems, you're mental or whatever. It's not looked at. They tell you can, but they don't. So they call us. So they get in there. So we interact there, and they can interact on the internet when they have questions or when they get out or whatever, and we have job sites, where to go. I mean, we constantly load that thing up. We're constantly revising it. We're staying ahead of the game. There's an old saying that I learned from my commanding officer: if you're standing still, you're backing up. And I've always lived by that.